Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be all about my February reading wrap up. I just posted my January reading wrap up, but time is ticking and we're already in March, so I'm trying to hurry up and get some of these videos out and catch up. So in today's video is going to be another wrap up, but for the month of February. And I had some really good books in the month of February. Some were some were pretty bad, but then I also read some pretty good ones that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So if you're interested, then go ahead and keep on watching. In the month of February, I read a total of 8 books, and some of those books were on my Kindle. So I will start with the books that I read on my Kindle first and then work my way to the physical copies that I actually read. I'm not gonna put these in any like type of order or anything, but I will save the best 2 for last. So I first read a poetry collection on my Kindle, and the title is Not a Monolith, Poems and Musings of a Black Woman. And it looks like this. This is by Shantasha Naomi Lang. I don't know if that's really how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if that's wrong, but I followed her on Instagram and I ran across her poetry book and it was free to read through Kindle, so I downloaded it and I really enjoyed it. Basically, this collection is about womanhood, childhood, relationships, community, mental health, capitalism, sisterhood, and throughout the book her poems are very relatable. As a Black person or a Black woman, I could relate to a lot of the poems in here, and I just really enjoyed it. They weren't super lyrical or, like I said, like metaphorical and super deep. They were just basic poems and easy to read and easy to relate to, and I really enjoyed it. So I gave that book 5 stars. Again, it's called Not a Monolith, Poems and Musings of a Black Woman. Really good book, highly recommend. The next book I read on my Kindle was another poetry book actually, and this poetry book I really did not like actually, which I was surprised I didn't like because I really like the writer, who is Renee Watson. She writes a lot of really good books, and I have a few of her books on my shelf. But this one I just couldn't get into. I don't know if it was because it was a poetry book and maybe I'm just used to like her regular fiction like stories or whatever, but like I said, I just couldn't get into it. So this one's called You Are, or Black Girl You Are Atlas. This is what it looks like. The cover is really pretty. Throughout the book she has artwork and stuff, and I loved everything about that. It was just the poems themselves I just couldn't like connect with. I had a hard time understanding them. I feel like with her poems in this book, some of them were a little bit like more harder to understand. They had a lot more metaphors and like underlying meanings behind things, or like, I don't know, just the way she worded a lot of things just confusing for me. I am new to poetry, so maybe that's why I had a hard time understanding it. Maybe for someone who's like more advanced with poetry might really love this book, but I gave it 2 stars. Again, this is like Black woman, Black girls type of poems collection, and like I said, it has beautiful artwork on the inside. I think I took a screenshot of a few of them actually because I thought they were so pretty, but yeah, I just didn't care for it, and I ended up giving that book 2 stars. And I think that's all that I read on my Kindle. So I'm gonna just hop into the physical books that I read in February. So another book that I read in the month of February was actually a library book, and I don't have the physical copy with me, so I'll just show you guys what it looks like on my iPad. So this was the book, one of the books that I read from the library. It is called Monster by Walter Dean Myers. I read this book for the first time back in like middle school, 8th grade, and I for some reason really liked that book back then. And so when I seen it in the library, I was like, bruh, I remember this book from 8th grade. I picked it up, I read it, and I just didn't care for it again, but I didn't also want to didn't want to rate it bad because younger me apparently really liked that book. So I didn't rate it. Basically, this follows the story of, I believe, a 16-year-old who is like accused of like robbery and murder of like a corner store owner. And he's basically trying to prove himself not guilty, but this is like written as a movie, so it's like scripted. And I just didn't care for it this time, but I'm not gonna badmouth it either, because like I said, old me, younger me really enjoyed this book. It just wasn't for me now that I'm 24 years old. So one of the physical books that I read in February, I was very disappointed in, because I really thought I was gonna like it because it's such a popular, well-known book right now. And when I read the synopsis or the summary of the book, I really thought I was going to get some good juicy drama in this book, but I really didn't. And that book is called The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Philwa. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But yeah, this book is really popular on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. And basically, it's a short stories collection of 9 different stories, and they all kind of follow like the secret lives of church ladies. And by the synopsis on the back, I really thought was gonna get like drama or like really juicy secrets. But I mean, yeah, they were like a little like drama-ish, not drama-ish, like secrets, but it wasn't nothing like or like, I don't know, I thought it was gonna like really take my breath away, but it really didn't. They were like chill drama stories almost. Like, I don't know, I just didn't care for it. A few of them I did like. I liked How to Make Love to a, I always have a hard time saying this word, physicist. How to Make Love to a Physicist. And I think I liked what is it called, hold on, Not Daniel. I did like those two. And everybody likes the chapter Peach Cobbler, but I just didn't like it. Like, it just wasn't given for me. And it's only like 170 something pages. And by the 3rd chapter, I was like already over it, because it wasn't giving me what I thought I was gonna get from it. So on Goodreads, I rated this book 2 stars. On Goodreads, I said boring. I don't know, the stories were just boring, didn't really make sense to me. I just don't see the hype around it. The only 3 stories I enjoyed was Not Daniel, How to Make Love to a Physicist, and Instructions for Married Christian Husbands. Those stories alone could have just been short standalone stories or short standalone books or something, because I thought they were really interesting. So yeah, those 3 stories that I did like, I felt like they could have just been 3 short story or 3 short books, like standalones or something. Like, I feel like they could have made really good books on their own, especially the Not Daniel one. Like, I felt like that story was really interesting. We could have kind of seen how they got up to that place, how their parents got sick, or I don't know if it was their parents or their grandparents, how they got sick and how they ended up in the situation, how they ended up in the parking lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like they would have been really good, like, little short stories. Like, if those stories were like this big in individual book forms, I felt like I would have liked those even more in a way. But yeah, like I said, I gave this 2 stars on Goodreads, and I could have done without it, honestly. The next book I read was Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. And this was 4 short poems by her. And again, I'm not a huge poetry person. I want to get into poetry this year, so that's why I've been kind of reading poetry so far. And I want to say the first one was my favorite, which was just called Phenomenal Woman. I think that was my favorite out of the 4. I can't really rate it because I know it's such a well-loved poetry collection, and I think it's just me who is very new to poetry, and I think that's why I'm having a hard time fully understanding it and digesting it. So I did not rate this book, but I did like it, and I would like to like read more and like reread and reread these poems over so I can like more so like understand some of like the underlying meanings of things and how, I don't know, just the wording. I'm just not used to wording and like poems and things like that. But like I said, I didn't read it, but I did read it. And like I did say, I did enjoy the first poem, which was Phenomenal Woman. The next book that I read in the month of February was Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Aiko. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But basically this book is, how can I say that? So basically each chapter starts with a question, an email that he was sent from someone non-Black, obviously. And they ask questions to dive deeper and understand Black culture, the Black experience, racism, things like that. So like I said, each chapter there's a question. So for example, okay, here's one. I'll just pick this one. So it starts off with the question, and then he goes into talking about the question and diving deep into the question. So it says, do you believe that with time, white privilege can be eliminated? Also, when I think about white privilege, I feel guilty and ashamed. So then he goes on to talk about white privilege and where it started and why it exists and how Black privilege doesn't exist and how it will always be white privilege no matter what. So he just answers the questions from these emails that people have sent to him. And I think this book was really good. I rated it 4 stars, but I think that this book would be really good for someone who is non-Black, because a lot of this stuff I kind of already knew or I kind of already felt, so it was really no need for me to really read the book. But he did have also like some history lessons that I did not know in the book, throughout the book. But to answer certain questions I already kind of had an idea of. So this book would be really great for someone who's not Black and wants to become more educated on Black culture or the Black experience and being Black, or the life of a Black man or the life of a Black woman, or just being Black in general, just so they aren't so ignorant to Black people or Black culture. I think this is a really good book. Like I said, I rated it 4 stars. I only rated it 4 stars because, like I said, I'm Black, so I kind of really didn't need to read a book, but I thought it was really, really good. And then at the back of the book, he goes over like certain terms that are used in Black cultures. So like the word do-rag. He talks about Black names and how they kind of come about, Black women's hair, do-rag, sagging, lotion, Black don't crack. And he kind of like dives deeper into those certain topics. And then and also in the back, he gives like book recommendations to read about. That'll educate you even more. He gives you podcasts to listen to, essays to read, things to watch. So he gives you like a whole bunch of like different things you can use to educate yourself even further after reading this book. So I really enjoyed this book. Again, I rated it 4 stars, and as you can see, I did tap it up because I did enjoy it. The last 2 books that I read are my top 2 of the month, and I gave them both 5 stars, and so therefore I can't really pick which one I enjoyed most because I liked both of them equally. But the first book here is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. This book helps you train your mind for peace and purpose every day. And as you can see, again, I tabbed the hell out of this book. I really like this book. So basically it says throughout this book, you'll understand how to overcome negativity, how to stop overthinking, why comparison kills love, how comparison kills love, how to use your fear, why you can't find happiness by looking for it, how to learn from everyone you meet, why you are not your thoughts, how to find purpose, why kindness why kindness is crucial to success, and so much more. So I really enjoyed this book. He also gives you like meditation and like little work, what is it called, like work activities you can kind of do throughout the book. And like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I'm kind of in a place where I'm just trying to like ease my mind. Sometimes I'm be so stressed out or overthinking and stressing about the future and comparing, and with social media, with other people, with other girls, with other looks, like just so many things. I'm still trying to find my purpose in life and things like that. And he talks about how to find purpose every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, and how to really engage with every moment of your day. And so yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. He's really smart, very wise. He talks a lot about gratitude throughout his book. And I was first introduced to him because I watched his podcast with Janae Aiko, and then I found more of his videos and his podcast channel on YouTube, and he interviews a lot of different people, and the people that he interviews are very smart, and sometimes it's just regular celebrities also, but some of the people that he talks to are so smart, and he's smart, and you can just learn a lot from him. So like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. Okay, so the last book that I read in February was Will by Will Smith. And this is his autobiography, memoir. Absolutely enjoyed it. I rated it 5 stars. So I started off reading this book physically, and then I decided to listen to the audiobook, and I highly suggest the audiobook. Even if you don't sit down and like follow along with the audiobook like I did, just listening to it while you're cooking, cleaning, laying in bed, whatever, like it's so interesting, it's funny, it's personable. Is that a word? Personable. It's relatable. He laughs throughout the book. He has like radio like stations playing in the background and music, and he uses like different character voices. Like it's just a really good book. I learned a lot about him, and I'm not saying like I'm a huge Will Smith fan, but we all know who Will Smith is, and I just never knew a lot of these things about him. It talks about his childhood, it talks about his 2 marriages, which I never knew he was married twice. It talks about his career, his music, which I don't really know a lot of Will Smith music. That was a little bit more before my time. But it does talk about his like music career, and then how he ended up in acting, how he had lost it all before he started acting. It just talks about a lot. You understand where a lot of things come from. It talks about his wife and his kids. It just talks about a lot. I really enjoyed it. It talks about his movies, his kids movie, not his kids movies, but the movies his kid played in, Jaden had played in with him. It talks about Will and her like singing career when she first started. It just talks about everything, and I really enjoyed it. He's a little insecure, and I did not know that about him. The way he just moves gives off a little bit of insecurity type of vibes, but this book was really good, and like I said, I learned a lot about him, and I highly recommend it. Okay, you guys, so that is all the books that I read in the month of February. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys check out some of these books, especially the last 2, or even the last 3 were really good. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully soon I'll be posting a different type of video. Yes, want to be a part of like booktube, but I'm also interested in other things, so hopefully I will post something that kind of shows other things that I'm interested in, so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. But yeah, until then, like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.